Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the X's and O's show. I am Griffin Murphy. Alongside me is August Young, and we are DocSports.com. In this show, we are going to be giving you guys out free plays, game predictions, ATS trends, and our top free play selections for NFL Week 8 and college football Week 9. Before we get rolling here, I want to let everybody know, coming off an 8-unit college best bet winner play of the year on Saturday, along with on Sunday, I had a 6-unit best bet with Seattle. So capitalized on both of those two top plays. We'll get into our performances at the end of the show. But August, how was your weekend last week?
Yeah, great, man. Everything's like we've been rolling over here, man. Same as you, I see like killing football. We're gonna get into it at the end of it, but things have been very good, man. We're catching some like momentum here, and that's exactly what we want to be doing heading into the busiest time of the year, right?
Yeah, bro. Absolutely. Especially now that we've got NHL rolling, we've got NBA going around, and college hoops around the corner, baby. So we have action across action, and I am more than ready for college basketball to get going. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we get rolling into this show, just so you guys know, above in that tab, docsports.com/360. By clicking that link, you can go ahead and snag August's premium selections for the weekend. You can grab my free selections for the weekend, or you can grab any other 10 of the 10 handicappers on our website selections for absolute free. Free $60 account. Just click that link right below. But with all that being said, let's jump right into game number one. We've got Washington rolling into Indiana to play the Hoosiers right now. Indiana currently laying 6.5 points in this game with a total sitting at 53.5. Indiana, man, I got to say, they're coming into this matchup sitting at a perfect 7-0 record after absolutely obliterating Nebraska in a 56-7 final. We're aware Nebraska is known for always having stout defense. Well, Indiana exposed that once they got a taste of some real Big Ten football. This Indiana club, I've got to say, is no joke. Curtis Roku, he has been leading the charge all season long. The transfer out of Ohio, he went down in the second half with a thumb injury against Nebraska, but that did not slow this club down whatsoever. Indiana still managed to score 28 points in the second half under backup quarterback Tavion Jackson. Jackson went 12 for 18, 3 touchdown passes, and 0 interceptions. Something to know about Jackson as well. He's a two-step quarterback, so not only can he air the ball out, but he is fast on his feet. Having said that, Jackson, he's never started leading the charge, for this Indiana team. So, in my eyes, that is a form of a liability, despite how impressive he was against Nebraska. Washington, right now, they're coming into this game 4-3 on the season. They've proven some really inconsistent football, I have to say, this season. They beat Michigan, they dropped to Washington State, they dropped to the Rutgers, and then they just got blown out in their most recent matchup to Iowa in a 40-16 final. I have to say Indiana is the play here, but considering Jackson leading at the helm, we need to respect the full game point spread until this kid sets in his groove. Washington, they're a very strong club on a metric standpoint, but their schedule's been pretty easy, so I can't really rule that into consideration. I have a rule as well. I don't ever bet against a team that's unbeaten, especially 7 games through the season at 7-0. So, where does this bring me? To a totals play. I'm not going against Indiana here, and I'm also not going to disregard how potent this Washington team can be at times. So we have 2 dynamic offenses going at it and 2 dynamic defenses going at it. The issue for Washington, in my eyes, is their defensive rush attack. They've had a very easy schedule, and this club is still allowing nearly 150 yards on the ground per game. Indiana's Curt Cignetti should come into this game with caution under Tavion Jackson and really attack that run game early in this matchup. So that brings me to a first half total play. I'm attacking an early selection here. Give me the first half under 26.5 points in this game. I believe we're going to see a really nice ground game early out of Indiana. And Washington, they're going to get a really nice taste of some legitimate Big Ten football defense here. Again, August, give me that under 26.5 total points in the first half. And how do you see this one rolling out, considering I'm on the under in this one? And we always go back and forth with these, brother.
All right, man. So good news, we agree. So,
Oh,
yeah, there we go. Good start, right? So, you got Indiana, as you mentioned it. They're just crushing teams at the moment. I mean, Nebraska was supposed to be their biggest test of the season. blew them out 56-7. And you know what's insane about that win? Look at Nebraska, right? They only allowed 10 points per game prior to that on the season, then outgo Indiana and drop more than 50 on them. The Hoosiers now ranked first in points per game, first in points per game margin as well. However, you know me, Griff, I'm all about the sell high. I like the under here, which is the way I'm looking to sell on this Indiana offense. Look, as you know, markets, they're not stagnant, right? They chop and change, they move. Washington have all the tools here, and the Huskies actually rank inside the top 10 themselves when you adjust for different strength of schedules in yards per play margin and yards per game margin. They're coming off last week's poor showing. They allowed Iowa to drop 40, as you said. I think they slowed things down a bit here, where, you know, and one final thing worth noting, a little bit of wind is expected, nothing major, but I want to drop some gold here, Griff. So
Like it.
anytime we have at least 7 miles per hour winds in college football, you can adjust for a few other factors here, which I won't give out, such as humidity and temperature. But that key of 7 miles per hour or higher, this is insane. The under with the temperature and humidity adjustments is hitting at a 60.9% rate over more than a 1,500 game sample size. We're going back like an enormous sample size and 60% to the under. That's good for a 17.9% return on investment. Just another wrinkle in this as to what I like and to confirm my lean. You got the under in the first half. I'm going to take the under for the full game. If you shop around, 54.5 is the price I would take. I would honestly wait. Just my advice here as well. I would wait a little. This is bumping up bit by bit. 55 is the most key number in college football totals. It's the most likely number that hits. So try and hang out for that 55. If you get it, snag it. If not, this is good anyway at 54.5, 54. It makes no difference because of the key number anyway. But that is my play. Full game under Griff. So we're in agreement. So let's move on. We got BYU at UCF. So we have UCF laying 1.5 here, total at 55.5. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet, Griff. I like UCF here as small chalk. So BYU, I know you just mentioned you don't like fading teams, though, that are undefeated. BYU, 7-0 straight up, 6-1 against the spread. But that is skewing market perception, in my opinion. I mean, in my opinion, Griff, I don't know about you. I think they're lucky to be undefeated. They were outgained by both Baylor and KSU. I dropped a big bet on Baylor in that one. They turned it on late. They couldn't pull it off right at the end. But, you know, they look, you look at this BYU team, they needed fourth down conversions as well versus Oklahoma State down the stretch. They scored in the dying few seconds to get that win. Now, I'm not saying that these wins should be ignored. I mean, there is something to be said, obviously, for pulling out close wins. I'm not taking that away from them. But I just think they're overvalued, in my opinion. They've shown some holes at times with their defense, especially against the rush. Guess who leads the Big 12 in rushing yards per game? That is UCF. They're averaging over 280 rushing yards per game. They look great on the offensive end last week as well in the near upset versus Iowa State. They opened as dogs. They flipped to the favorites. It's for good reason, in my opinion. Griff, give me UCF minus 1.5.
I like it, man. You know, this game for me was a very weird game to break down. You've got a team that's 3-4 on the season, and you got a team that's 7-0, and the team that's 7-0 is getting points in this matchup, which automatically throws you in a loop for a trap bet. BYU 7-0 unbeaten, but BYU on top of that, they have had a tough schedule and they've beat some really good teams, as you've mentioned. SMU, one of them, Kansas State, Baylor, Arizona, and Oklahoma State. BYU has had it easy by no means, and they're thriving under Solani Satake, I have to say. BYU is a team that is critical on limiting mistakes, and they've done it all season long. They have a very strong offensive front, and they have a very solid quarterback, and Jake Retzlaff, I always say his name wrong, who not only has 16 passing touchdowns this season, but he's got nearly 300 yards on the ground with his feet with a pair of touchdowns as well. BYU has scored at least 30 points offensively in their last 5 games. That's also something to note down. Now, UCF, they're just 3-4 on the season after dropping to Iowa State in a 35-38 final. Iowa State, they rank 42nd in the nation when it comes to total yards of offense against on the defensive side, and UCF just put a 35 spot on them. UCF is also coming into this matchup on a 4-game losing streak. Their strength of schedule has been extreme, but not as intense as BYU by any means, I have to say. So we have to ask ourselves, why is BYU getting 2.5 points here? That leads me, August, to a trap play. If we have a total sitting at 55.5 points, that tells us that the market is anticipating a high-scoring game. And with the 2.5 point spread, it's expected to be close. Scanning the defensive metrics on these two teams, UCF ranks in the mid to bottom of the half of the barrel in the nation when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. This leads me to another full-blown under trap. BYU, they've scored at least 30 points in their last 5 games. UCF, they've dropped 4 games in a row and now are home favorites. This is a psychological number selection for me. Psychological. The market, they want you all over BYU. I'm not going to rely on a team on the other side who's dropped 4 games in a row. So we have to look at the trap. And it's sniffed out right here. I see a low-scoring game here. And I also believe we're going to have a very even matchup on both the offense and defensive line, which is going to coincide clock management. Give me under 55.5 points in this game on a psychological trap selection. The over makes too much sense, and taking BYU in this matchup also makes too much sense. The books, they set this game up perfectly for the public to fail, and we're going to flip this on them and drill the under. So that is my free play rolling into this one, August. Now, let's shift gears into the NFL, baby. We've got the Philadelphia Eagles rolling into Cincinnati to play the Bengals. The current line, the Bengals are laying 2.5 points. We've got a total sitting at 47.5. Philly comes into this game on a 2-game winning streak after rolling over the Giants last week in a 28-3 final. A.J. Brown, he's back and healthy. Saquon having himself a hell of a season. And now Jalen Hurts seems to finally be finding his groove back at that quarterback spot. I've got to say, man, this Philadelphia Eagles team is steamrolling right now. And that bye week for them 3 weeks ago was huge as they prevailed since then 2 solidified wins. Cincinnati, they're currently on a 2-game win streak, but they're sitting at 0-3 at home this season. And of course, this game is in Cincinnati. The problem for the Bengals right now is their defense. They have a weak defensive line. They're getting beat on the edges, and they're ranked 24th in the NFL when it comes to converting defensive third downs. They're not stopping anybody on third downs. It's brutal, and it's costing them points after points and time after time. This could be a massive issue for Cincinnati in my eyes here, especially that third down conversion rate. So I have to say, Jalen Hurts, very quick on his feet. He hasn't thrown a pick since his bye week and A.J. Brown's return. And we already know, as I mentioned, Saquon Barkley absolutely shining. Philadelphia, they're also coming off a game where their defense sparked, and they got into the backfield 8 times for 62 yards against the Giants, eliminating 62 yards from the Giants on the defensive side. Philly, in my eyes, August, they're coming together, and I've still yet to be impressed by Cincinnati this season. I'm taking the points here with Philly, but my best bet recommendation in this matchup would be buy a point up. Make it 3.5. Cover that backdoor hook. Don't get beat on that field goal. So that's the safety kit. Obviously, free pick selections, we go straight pick. We're giving you guys out the actual valued line, and the line in this game is 2.5. So my play is taking it at 2.5, but don't get beat on the juice. If you have the opportunity to buy that point up, buy it to 3.5, shave that field goal out of play, and win that game by a backdoor hook. August, how do you see this game playing out?
Well, first of all, you mentioned Saquon. I bet a lot of props myself outside of docs. I hit a ton of props, and that guy's been killing me. That's one guy that I've not been making money on Saquon Barkley props. I like to, as you know, like I'm talking about selling high and shit. Excuse my language. That is not working with Saquon. But anyway, unfortunately, we've got our first disagreement here, man. So this is a tight one. Cincinnati with the losing record, they actually have the better metrics when you adjust for yards per game and yard per play margin as well. Variance is a bitch in football. And, in sports betting in general, they've had the worst of it. They're 1-4 this season in one possession games. I'm sure a lot of that comes down to that they can't get stops on third down, as you mentioned. That will kill you down the stretch. But the fact is, it's very possible they could be 4-1 in those games. It's just one of those things. Big game for both teams. I have Joe Burrow rated as a better quarterback in my ratings compared to Jalen Hurts. I hear you saying he hasn't thrown a pick. That rings to me that he's overly due. All right, Jalen Hurts. We'll see what happens, man. My numbers, they lean with Cincinnati, especially now that we're under a field goal. At 3, I would have laid off. This thing came down to 2.5. I don't usually like to fade markets, but it seems like the market agrees with you there, Griff. But I'm going to take the Bengals here. -2.5. Don't add much else to add there. Give me Cincy 2.5. So we're going to move on to our final game here. Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco 49ers. We have Sunday night football. Primetime matches, primetime matchup, 49ers laying 4 here, total at 46.5. I had no lean on this game at all. The good news is we got some line movement here, and it's down to 4, which finally gives me something to talk about. Otherwise, I would have just been passing this back to you. So I like the 49ers here, -4. 4 being somewhat a key number. I made this line 5.5. If it was 4.5, there's no value to be had there. 5 being such a dead number. My only concern here is I've hated a lot of what I've seen from Brock Purdy so far, especially last week versus KC. He's been super inconsistent. However, matchup-wise, San Francisco have owned Dallas in recent meetings. They won, obviously, 3 straight, both straight up and against the spread. Average score in those games was 28-13. Skewed a little bit for the fact that they had that 42-10 beatdown in the most recent game. However, as mentioned, I like to buy low, and I think the 49ers are that team in this situation more than Dallas. They've been favored in every single game this season, yet they're 3-4 straight up. I actually can't remember a time, Griff, that's happened. A team favored in 7 games in the season, yet they have a losing record. It's crazy. But as you know, we're involved in a tough world here with sports betting. It's a very efficient market. I didn't agree with it, but the fact that they were chalk against KC, that's telling as to what the market thinks about this. For those of you who don't know, I did a video on this about why markets move and lines move, and public shifts things a little bit. But at the end of the day, they closed in a market where you can bet $100,000 at like Circa and that. Pros can come in and hammer KC as dogs in that spot, and they chose not to. So you have to respect that is something that happened there. My number's still like San Francisco here at 4. It's tight, as I mentioned. I don't make them a touchdown favorite, nothing like that. But Griff, going to roll with the 49ers here at -4. I'm interested to get your take on this one.
August, we got an agreement here, brother. And you know what? We're
Bang.
very much on the same page here. Very much. This was a very weird game for me to break down. Lane 4. I would have liked to see that number at lane 3. And the way that Dallas has been playing, I'm going to jump right into it. Dallas 3-3 on the season, done nothing but disappoint all season long. Their most recent matchup, absolutely obliterated by Detroit in a 47-9 final. Dak went 17 for 33, 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. One thing that Dallas does have going for them in this matchup is they're coming off a bye week, but I don't think that's going to help them heading into this matchup. San Fran is legit. They're coming off a bad game against a 2-time Super Bowl champs with the Chiefs, as duly noted. San Francisco right now, they're still 3rd in the NFL when it comes to total yards of offense per game. They're 4th in passing yards, and they're 7th in rushing yards. Dallas right now, 31st in the NFL when it comes to points against on the defensive side, and they're 27th when it comes to defending the rush. Despite all the injuries that San Fran is dealing with right now, this is a bad Dallas football team. I have to say, despite all the years of them being top contenders in the NFL, the public has officially been sold. I expect San Fran to take this game personal. It's at home. It's a bounce back game. I don't believe in bounce back games, but when you deal with an ex-defending, when you go to the Super Bowl last season and you lose to the Chiefs, and then you play them again and you lose again at home, that's a bounce back game. That's a pissed off game. So in this matchup, San Fran, they're the better team here. They've got a better coach. They have home field advantage here. So August, we are in agreement on this one. I am laying the 4 points here with the Niners. That is my free play. And now, before we jump off here, we always tell people how it is when it comes to our premium selections over at DocSports.com. And I hate high horsing myself, but I have to say, August, I'm on an absolute tear right now, man. I'm 11-2 in my last 13 selections, graded 6 units or higher for $4,820. As mentioned earlier, I drilled my college football 8-unit play of the year last Saturday. I had the Miami Hurricanes absolutely obliterate shootout. I'm hitting 71% across NFL this season, and in a wholesome college football and NFL combined, I am 31-18 for $5,670 profit. And when it comes to my strictly 6-unit plays, I'm standing at a perfect 6-0 for $3,600. So I am absolutely flying right now. This weekend, on college football, I have a 6-unit best bet. That's a part of a 3-play card. I absolutely love this play. I have to tell you guys right now, but I am a risk management professional. I said this in a show yesterday, and August, as you guys could hear him talk, he knows his money management. He knows his risk management. He knows his ATS trends. It's the same circumstance. When you pound a play 8 units You need to be protective no matter how juicy the setup is, no matter how well the play has set up and formatted itself. You have to play protective. Always protect your bankroll, collect more, and then smash the next setup. So I had made this a 6-unit best bet. Really, it would be a 7-unit play, but as mentioned, we smashed that 8-unit play of the year. So Saturday, 3 plays, 6-unit best bet. Sunday, 7-unit best bet, coming off of a 6-unit best bet winner last week with Seattle. So I have 3 plays on deck, 6 plays all weekend, Saturday 3, Sunday 3. Looking for another juicy weekend. August, how have your premiums been rolling as of late over at the site, and what do you got on tap this weekend?
Yeah, man, very, very similar. Like, been crushing it as well. I have a 7-unit NFL going tonight, Thursday night football. Um, as you mentioned, NFL has been money. Same for me this season. I'm 13-4 on NFL sides this season.
Okay.
6-1 when it comes to NFL side big bets. Currently closing on $4,000 on the season. And even like my 7-unit and higher selection since I've joined Doc Sports, long-term guys will know this. If you're a $100 better and you just blindly bet every single 7-unit and higher that I put out, you made $30,000. If you're a $500 better, you made over $100,000. Like, what are we doing here? Like, just bet the big plays.
Spook,
You're
you
good, right?
crazy.
Yeah. NHL is obviously going to crush an NHL to start the season, banner season in baseball. We just went over 100 units this baseball season, winning in the UFC, crushing everything right now. Feels good, my man. We're hitting everything. I got a 7-unit, like I said, Thursday night. I have a 6-unit college football Saturday, so jump on that. Just crushing everything, man. Like, I love to see it. You and me are both doing damage here, and I think we both agreed on like the last 2 weeks big football plays. Like, I think we're seeing
Dude,
things the
that's the
same
thing.
way,
I
man.
texted you on Sunday, bro. I said, "Quit stealing my plays, you mother." And he
Right,
goes,
right,
"No,
yeah,
you
because we
keep
both had
stealing my
Seattle,
plays,
right?
bro." Ever since
Yeah, yeah,
Young and Murphy on the same side, I'm like, "All right, at least we got winners, baby. At least we got winners."
at least, man. Yeah, we had
But
what do we
but
have? The
remember,
Seahawks, and then I think the week prior we had the Ravens. I think it
Baltimore.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Baltimore. So we had
yeah.
Baltimore and then we had Seattle. Yeah. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we do not know who each other has. Going into the show, going into our premium selections, we roll in and we come in and we put our selections out, and that's how it rolls. And I will say on the show today, we have 3 or 4 plays that we're on combined with. I just hope to God that we don't have the same selections again going into this week. But at the same time, it's always a comforting factor to know that, hey, August is on the same side as me with this play. So you know what? I think we got a winner here. I think we got a winner here on
Right,
our 7 units. So
right,
I
man.
love to see it, man. I love to see that you're cashing in. And we always tell it how it is. If we're playing like shit, if our selections are not going well, we're going to tell you guys how it is. And if we're on fire, as we are right now, we're going to let you guys know. And just so everybody knows, obviously, August has his 6-unit NFL selection going out this week. Again, you can get that play for free. Look right up at the top, docsports.com/360. Go ahead, make a free account. Go ahead and snag August's picks. If you don't like August and you like me better, go ahead and snag my picks. If you don't like me or August, we got 10 other guys on the site. You can go ahead and grab their selections for $60 absolutely for free. No ifs, ands, or buts, no strings attached. And just to let everybody know, well, before I do so, August, any last words before we head out of here?
No, man, I've got nothing apart from little not to it football. Real quick, if you like betting hockey, guys, like 25 units on the season already. We have made a massive overhaul. We're good in hockey anyway, but we added some serious talent, man, and we are crushing hockey right now. Won both our 7 units this season, including a 7-unit underdog step out. I mean, we just hit dogs. We hit favorite. It doesn't matter, man. So if you like betting hockey, check me out
Same,
as well.
baby.
So
I love that you brought that up. I am also on a tear with my hockey this season. I've had 13 selections. I'm currently 10-3 on the season as well. I've had 4 top plays. I'm 4-0 right now when it comes to my plays rated 6 units or higher, and I'm up over $3,100 across on the ice this season. So August, we're turning and burning right now, and I just want to let
love it,
everybody
man.
know we appreciate all of you guys for tuning in to the Doc Sports X's and O's show. We record this show every single Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We hope you guys enjoy the show. Please let us know in the comments your thoughts, good or bad. We don't give a shit. We don't care. We just want to know your guys' feedback so we know how to go moving forward. And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week.